Yay! All right, welcome everybody. So my name's Natalie. We're thrilled to have Sam, Robin, and Isabella. So 3 second year students from AIE. So we're looking at the game Resonant Blade. Very excited to discuss this with you all today. So Sam is the game designer from the game. We have Robin, the artistic character artist, and we have Isabella, one of the talented environment artists. So very cool to discuss this all with you there. Should I go again, Matt?
Going from the top again, but if you start like that, totally fine. Just keep going. Just to correct yourself. Yeah. Imagine it's live.
Yeah. This is going to be cringe. I was talking through all of you guys about it, and now I'm cringing. All right. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. My name's Nat, and today we have Sam, Robin, and Isabella, so 3 second year students from AIE, and we're discussing their game, The Resonant Blade. Woo! So Sam is the designer. We have Robin, the artist, for their character design, and we have Isabella, the environment artist. Yay! Thank you guys for joining us today. So who came up with the idea of The Resonant Blade?
So the Resonant Blade was originally one of the teacher pitches. And they gave us a very short brief about making a single dungeon that's very similar to sort of a Skyrim-esque type thing. And then we basically ran with that and turned it into our own creation.
Awesome. What is the game about?
So it's a bit of a dungeon exploration game where it's a first-person game where you play as our master adventurer, and you just sort of explore and you're trying to find treasure, and then you stumble across something that you probably shouldn't come across in the first place.
Very cool. How many people contributed to it? Because I know you guys are all joining us today. Was there more people as well?
Yeah, so we had quite a large team. We had 10 people in total. So we had 1 programmer, 3 designers, and 6 artists.
Now, I know that you guys were going off the teacher's pitch, but was it easy to like follow through with the concept with that many people as well?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had to work it out at the start because we all had our own ideas of how we wanted the pitch to go, and it took a couple of weeks to sort of finalize how we all wanted it to come together. But when we did, I know we had a lot of discussions trying to work it out, and when we did come together, it really took off, and it all really became a great project to work on.
Very nice. How long did it take, like in total? I know it was a few weeks to come up with the concept and agree on those things, but after you went hit the ground running, the development process, how long did that take?
So from start to finish, it took us about 5 months, but that also includes the pre-production process. So that's all of the testing phase for the art team, as well as coming up with all of the ideas for the narrative, as well as like some of the level layout stuff and all that early game development stuff.
Very nice. I do have another question for Sam, but I'm going to head it over to Robin and Isabella in a second as well. But as a game designer, Sam, on the game, how much did the vision change over the course of time as well? I know you guys had set out with that vision, but how much did it change over like during other concepts like art, or we can't do this, or even player feedback?
I would say quite significantly, honestly. Because we started off with a game name called Talisman. And so we were initially thinking that it was going to be quite centered around the talisman that the player is going to find. And the player does still find the talisman quite early in the game. But through the process of a lot of like the narrative design throughout the development, it very much steered off in a completely different path. And the talisman, the game itself had to be renamed from Talisman to the Resonant Blade, purely because of the focus of the game had shifted completely. Even I think in the art side of things, I know the environment looked at multiple different types of environments before we settled on the one that we settled on. And even down to the number and types of enemies that we ended up having, there was quite a shift from where we started off and where we initially wanted to have things versus where we ended up.
Yeah, nice. I mean, thinking about the talisman and then versus the Resonant Blade, I think the Resonant Blade sounds more mysterious. I mean, I think I'd want to play the Resonant Blade a bit more than the talisman. It's kind of been there, done that. So I think that was a good job on that end as well. Robin and Isabella, so as the game artists, how did you guys come up with the art concepts for the Resonant Blade?
One of the things that we did as a team was that we gathered a lot of different references and ideas. So we all did spend quite a good amount of our beginning time right from the offset of the project talking about what each of us would have liked the game to look like. And we did a lot of different we just spent lots of time collecting and combining references and then going, oh, I like that, or I like that. And then it was very much a group effort. A lot of people, it wasn't actually like hard. It wasn't a long process. A lot of people settled on an idea very quickly. So, yeah.
Definitely makes it a lot easier when you guys can all just come together and agree on one idea and then just run with that. Awesome. What about you, Isabella? How did you come up with the environment art? Same way, yeah.
So
was there any you scrapped maybe?
So originally we were gonna go for more of like kind of like an Aztec Mayan look, and that kind of just eventually like kind of just made up our own thing. Not really based on that. We settled on the color palette like pretty quickly. Like we knew we wanted like blue, lots of plants, like lots of like glowing like blue stuff. That's kind of been something that's like stuck through like the whole process. I feel like a lot of like any like shape language symbolism that we had at the start, like we've kind of like shifted as we decided to move away from like that more like Aztec Mayan kind of feel.
Nice. Maybe we can get a final product of the game, how it turned out now, so viewers can see the before process and the now process. Sam, do you have that recording? Or are you going to do some live gameplay for us?
Yeah, I can do some gameplay now. I'll just quickly share my screen.
Nice. Well, how would you guys describe the vibe now of the Resonant Blade? So it was going to be Aztec. What's it now?
I think one of the things that I know that one of the inspiration that we all kind of got from it, especially designers, was the Disney film Atlantis. So it had a sort of Aztec temple ethnic vibe, but it also had quite a bit of a splash of sci-fi tech. So we kind of still wanted that Mayan Aztec ethnic feel. And you can see some of the decals on the floors, on the walls, like a lot of the symbology is still very similar. But I think we kind of went into a very different genre of, well, not genre, but a very different vibe. We have a bit like, it still feels very high fantasy, but still being quite ethnic. So it's got that sort of meld to it.
No, very cool. Like, when I first played this game as well, I felt like a little bit like it was like Indiana Jones inspired. I don't know, because of the things you've got to solve and stuff. Maybe a bit more high tech. There is like some things like there's floating and the lights are glowing as well. Sam, you just breezed past that first level. That took me ages. Whose idea was it to do the little like levers you got to pull and stuff to be able to get to the next level?
I can't remember who specifically it was. It was definitely part of the design team, coming up with all the puzzles and doing the puzzle design. And I know originally you mentioned as well about things that changed over time. The puzzle there in that first section was completely different. But then it got changed to the one that's there to sort of give the player some sort of progression or more obvious progression between puzzles, to start off with a nice simple one and then lead into a more complicated one afterwards.
I can see there's a baddie running towards you as well. I love fighting the baddies, but it's great when you can have a combination of, fight combined with puzzles as well. Challenge your mind a little bit. I love puzzles. They don't love me, but it's great to have a combination. Oh, look at you go. And you defeated him.
The game looks stunning.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
even
really
with
nice.
you can see that they're getting damaged because their armor keeps disappearing. It keeps dissolving, which is awesome as well. It's not just a life bar you're seeing. So cool. This is like the easiest one, right? This is like the second level?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the first room or the first sort of main section after like the initial bit. The initial bit we sort of set up to be a bit of a tutorial. just to sort of get the player familiar with the controls. And even this bit, in a sense, is part of the tutorial. But it's just to get the player used to a bit of combat and understanding how everything works in the game.
Nice. Even this blinking sword, the eye and the sword. What is there a meaning behind that? Does that mean something?
So the sword having an eye is to sort of imply that the sword itself is alive. And at the moment, the sword is actually talking to the player, and that's where a lot of the dialogue is surrounded, is going back and forth between the sword and the player talking to each other.
Very cool. No, like Matt said, it's just very aesthetically pleasing. This whole game.
Isabella, oh, sorry to cut you off there, Nat.
No,
Isabella, I just want to say props if you're doing the environment art, the glow down effect from the lights with like the little flyers, like that stuff. Just the little things like that make it look awesome. So the environment looks terrific. Well done.
No, very cool.
Thank you. I was going to say the person who's been doing all of the light effects and visual effects was an animator on our team called Aaron Hunter. So he was the one who did all of those like glowy, like firefly effects.
Go Aaron, killing it. Okay, this is where it gets more complicated. I mean, this is only 2 of the baddies, but I think there's a whole room of them that come running at you, isn't there? And that's where I died. So it does get quite hard. But I mean, if you're good at this kind of thing, then I mean, it's probably the game for you. I think that I want to keep playing it so I can get be the best one at Resonant Blade. I just have to get more practice. Okay, where can people find the Resonant Blade as well?
So it's online at itch. You can probably Google the Resonant Blade and itch.io, and it should pop up if people are wanting to find it. Otherwise, it's on Harley's itch, so it's HJ Clark 462, and that's his itch profile.
Nice. Who would you say is the best one at the Resonant Blade out of you guys?
Not me.
It depends who's been playing it the most. I mean, in between Harley and Aaron, they've been the ones like stress testing it, bug testing it. Aaron's been implementing all sorts of new animations and effects. So he is also like part of his testing is playing through the game over and over and over again. So it's in between Aaron and Harley, but my money's on Aaron.
I think it shows the camaraderie. Everyone was hesitant to say me. I mean, I wouldn't have been. Like, if it was my game, I'd say definitely me. But it's great that you guys are so, connected. And it's like, oh, no, I think this person did great. This person did great. So that's awesome, guys. Well done. What was the biggest lesson from all of you guys that you learned, like, making Resonant Blade? Because obviously there would be so many obstacles as well. There's always bugs that happen during the game development process. What's something that sticks out for you guys that you had to overcome?
So I think like learning to do like more iterative work. So like not trying to make everything like perfect and polished before we like put it into the game, because it holds up. Like we gotta test stuff a lot, and if we put a lot of work into something and it doesn't end up working out, then we kind of just wasted time. So yeah, just taking like it step by step.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, yes, I agree with that. We had a lot of instances right at the beginning where we were doing a lot of hard work or a lot of very final work, and then it goes into the game and then we've completely changed direction. So us being able to ask for feedback and then receive the feedback and then act on that calmly, because sometimes we get very attached to our creations, so we don't often want to hear someone say, no, you have to change it. So that was part of a skill set that I feel we had also learned while we were doing this project, was how to ask for feedback and then also how to implement that feedback.
Very true. I think you know, when you're creating something from scratch, it's very easy to overthink things. Maybe it's like, oh, we have to keep perfecting this. And even because we're all on the same campus, we're all from Melbourne, woo. But when I came to see you guys and seeing the game, like even a few weeks ago, to me it looked amazing and it was done, and you guys were still working on it. So it just shows the passion behind it. I think you guys wanted to keep going. I'm just like, it's done, guys. But with a passion project like this, you just want to keep going, and you're working on that feedback as well, of course, and just fixing all those little things that I wouldn't have noticed, but because you guys have been seeing in the game, it's like, no, it makes a difference now. I'm like, yep, no, you're right. Keep going, keep going. So it shows the massive talent, the massive hard work coming from all of you. So very, very well done. What advice would you guys give to aspiring game developers on your experiences working on the Resonant Blade? I mean, you guys have spoken about not focusing too much on, not stressing too much in terms of feedback and not letting it deter you from completing the game. Is there anything else you guys would give advice for developers?
One of the ones I think that I thought about immediately was just be okay to make mistakes and structure yourself. Like really keep your goals, your milestones, keep them where you can see them, try follow them, and don't get caught up in the mistakes. Like sometimes you have to move on, sometimes you can fix a mistake, but it's getting caught up and worked up over mistakes that really actually stops you more than if you just, you know, took a break from it, tried something different. So I think that was one of the key advice that I would give is just don't get caught up on the mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. You will make mistakes. Expect that you will, but the attitude is important.
I'd agree with that, and to follow on with it, I'd also say expect things that are gonna get iterated on over and over and over and over again. I can see Robin laughing because there's like taking her characters for example. The enemies had, I can't even remember how many initial concepts there was. There was hundreds maybe.
There was like 5 pages worth of concept arts just by itself.
And then that all just sort of, it took a while, but it just sort of funneled down into what we ended up finally deciding on. But even little things like even this altar right at the end went through 3 or 4 different variations. I know the banners definitely went through 3 or 4 variations. Every little thing that's in the game would have gone through multiple versions before we ended up on the final one. So I guess the easiest way to put it is don't expect that something that you're making is going to be the perfect version the first time, because it's probably not going to be the case, and expect that it needs to be, or expect that it will get adjusted in some way or another.
Nah, very true advice, very good advice. With the symbols as well, like where did the inspiration for those come from? They look so cool, but is there any particular game or movie or something that you guys thought of, or did you just like look up some cool like Aztec things like you were discussing before it was going to be more themed towards?
I think those are like definitely like one of the few things that shows like that kind of like Aztec idea we were originally going with. I think they were created mostly by Star, who was our art lead, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was definitely inspired by like all that kind of stuff.
I'm getting like Doctor Strange vibes from
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, I think Aaron.
Who is my favorite Marvel character and favorite Marvel movie, so I'm not hating on it whatsoever. Love it, absolutely love it.
Well, the sigils. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that the sigils themselves, like the initial inspiration, at least for like the visual look of it, we were thinking of like I think it's the Bifrost summoning portals from Thor, where it leaves that sort of like burnt effect on the ground. And then the artists took that initial idea and have turned it into what it is now.
Yes. The inspiration, as the previous guys have said, the person who ended up designing them was Logan. So he's our tech artist.
Cool. What about the favorite thing from all of you about the game, from the final product?
And that's a hard decision. I really like the whole thing, I guess. I mean, the final cutscene, which I haven't hit just yet because we'll save that for the end, is really good. That was done by Aaron. It's mostly a lot of VFX sort of thing. What else was there? The puzzles were quite enjoyable to make. Some of them much simpler to play and design than they were to program. I know Harley spent quite a bit of time making sure that the puzzles were all sorted and well put together. What else was there? What are your guys' favorites?
My not serious answer was all the blooper reels that we ended up having for the team, because Murray, me, and Aaron would just start recording each other randomly throughout the project, and there was some really crazy, funny team things that happened, and then also a lot of the tests for the animations. All of the tests that we did that didn't end up in the final game, obviously because they were tests, were hilarious. And then my serious answer is, I think, the final cinematic. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I definitely want to see these blooper reels, if not now, after the live stream as well. But my favorite thing about the game as well, it was the puzzles. I found it so incredibly difficult, but it was something that you had to really think about when you were doing it. And like, I know when you do the puzzle as well, if you get it wrong, you get enemies running at you. So you actually get consequences. You can't just keep redoing it. So I really love that element, even though it was terrifying. But I think that was a great addition. So very cool concept there. What about you, Isabella? What was your favorite?
I really like the look of like the room you get the talisman in. Like I feel like it's just very pretty. That was probably one of my favorite parts to work on, and just like kind of like just like the nice like lush nature kind of stuff, and like the lighting and stuff. That was probably my favorite. Like this room's really cool, like how dark and like scary it looks.
Yeah. I think I definitely saw a lot of games developed in the second year where it was like some like fun, really like fluff games, really cool. But I do love a game with a story, like when you go like through the whole time, like through like all these different rooms and completing these different things to get to the end. I definitely love that concept as well. But yeah, it's an amazing final product. What about the bugs? What about I think we discussed this earlier. There was a bug that you guys came across, or a really big thing that happened that you guys had to fix. What happened?
A couple of git collisions that caused some problems. So Aaron accidentally deleted like a day of Sam's work. And Star, she I don't know what she did, but Holly had to sit there for a couple of hours trying to make sure nothing like got deleted. So yeah, so there's just been a lot of like really weird reoccurring bugs, like the enemies, like when you respawn in the game, like sometimes the enemies would just like show up in like random places, and it's just like, oh, that's cool. I have like a photo of like one of them, they respawned like in the mana pool, like it's taking a bath. Yeah, it's like stuff like that.
I think one of my funniest bugs that I think we've seen it a few times is if you get the enemies a certain distance away from you and you pause the game, it shows the game still paused, but then the enemy character's just rotating along. And he just does this like constant, very slow spin, and he's just like turning and turning for the entirety that the game is paused.
I mean, these are hilarious bugs. I kind of wish I could still see them. Do you guys have recordings of them or anything?
I think I have something somewhere. I've got bloopers of everything.
I mean, it's always funny to look back on, and like you said, you know, like it's good to be able to learn from them, and what doesn't kill you definitely makes you stronger. So you guys were able to overcome all of that and get to this point, which is incredible. What else? What else can we discuss with this amazing team? So, what about Sam? Sam, since you've completed your advanced diploma in game design, what was the most surprising or unexpected lesson you learned during your time at AIE? Because you're leaving very, very soon, and I'm still mad about it, but I'm excited for your future. But yeah, what's the most unexpected lesson that you learned?
Oh, that's a tough question. Probably communication is key to everything. especially when you're working cross-discipline. So when you're working, not just amongst the designers, but also working with the artists and the programmers, communication is absolutely key. You have to make sure that everyone is aware of everything that's going on. I know initially we had a couple of issues where some people thought something was happening and someone else thought that something else was happening, and it just caused a bit of issues amongst the team because we all thought we were working in different directions. So I would say definitely communication. Keep it up at all times, even if sometimes you think you're over communicating. It's probably better than not communicating, just to make sure that everyone's aware and everyone knows what's going on. In terms of, that's probably the biggest thing in terms of like group assessments that I've learned at AA.
With the coursework as well, like, and you all have your different streams, but because you're doing all inter-streaming to make these amazing projects, did you learn a lot of things off of different streams with this collaboration? Lots of head nods, so we love it. Yes.
Yes, definitely. There's so much, like, as a designer, we learn all about design stuff, and we have like a very basic, quick run through of sort of how coding works, in the sense of being able to throw together a prototype and then get that to a programmer who can sort of code it up properly. We also have a very sort of short run through of how the art side of things work, but it's nowhere near as in depth. So we get like a very general idea of everything. But then when you actually see an artist, create a model from start to finish, there's so many more details, so many more finesse points. It's very, very fascinating to watch and learn along the way. Even with the coding as well, there's so much more depth, and you learn so much, especially working cross discipline.
Yeah, nice. It's a question that I know I get a lot as an events officer, if people can do like so many like different subjects at the same time. But I say all the time, like, do the subject that you're passionate about, because you will be doing inter-streaming projects where you'll be learning off your peers as well, which is great. The collaboration as well, like, you'll be learning so much, like you just said. So incredible. What about Robin? You're doing GDML next year, so you're not leaving us yet. So very exciting. Do you have a project in mind you're going to be working on GDML? Has the Resonant Blade inspired you to go towards the same kind of theme?
To be honest, I have my head full of ideas, so I don't even really know what I want to do. I think one of the game ideas that I was sitting with since my first year of art, I might bring that up again as something that we could potentially do, but it also depends on the rest of the team in the GDML and what they want to do. But I'm a bit more open to it, but I do have ideas. I do have a lot of ideas. Talisman definitely inspired some, but I'm also wary of scope because I'm not sure who my team is just yet. But definitely I'm open as well to the experience.
Love that. It's inspired you, but you're still open to all these other things. Your head is full of those ideas. You won't be bored, that's for sure. And Isabella, what about you? So you're completing your second year in advanced diploma. You are leaving us. What's something that you're going to be taking with you that you've learned from your experience at working at AIE, as well as your experience working on the game Resonant Blade?
Well, before I started this course, I knew like absolutely nothing about like 3D modeling, like all this kind of stuff. So I've learned like a lot. Next year I'm thinking of making like just a small game with my high school friend. So obviously I've learned a lot like with this, and I'm probably gonna be like the only artist on that game, so I'm gonna have to learn a lot more. But this has been a really good start with like what kind of like thoughts need to be like put into like making stuff like this, like all the planning side and stuff.
That's incredible. Like, you knew nothing about 3D modeling, and now you're confident enough to start your own game with your friend. So that shows so much growth, so much confidence. I definitely couldn't do that. Even if I did the course, I don't know. It is a scary thing. It's great to be able to have that kind of motivation and confidence in yourself. So I think I'm very excited to see what comes out of that as well. I definitely want to play that game when it comes out. Maybe we should go through the last scene. Sam, are you up to that last scene?
Yep, I can start that now if you guys want to see it.
Yeah, let's do it. I feel like you went through it so quickly. That is epic. What was your quickest runtime for this game? Because I couldn't get past the one with the massive puzzles. How long did it take you to clock that?
I've played it so many times. Probably wouldn't be more than 5 minutes, I would say.
What's the longest time someone's taken to complete the game? So I can still not feel as bad about myself.
That's another good one.
I did see someone when we went to Igdown that they spent about 10 minutes trying to figure out the very first lever puzzle. So like the bar's pretty low already.
We love to hear this, but I think it shows how like exciting the game is as well, because when I've come across a game that is taking long but I'm not as engaged, I do quit. But with Resonant Blade, I want to keep going because it is so engaging for me and I want to get to that end level as well. So yeah, very, very, very cool game. I'm very impressed by all of you guys. Now we've spoken about the favorite part of the game. Maybe we can end on what was everyone's favorite thing from their experience creating the Resonant Blade. I know Sam was thinking of an answer. Yeah, I just saw you unmute yourself, Sam. Go ahead.
It's going to sound really cheesy. I think the team collaboration, honestly. I think I'm not sure how many people everyone else on the team had worked with previously. I think I'd only worked with 2 or 3 of the team members prior to the Resonant Blade. But going from a team of most people don't know each other to a team who are now very close, very committed to the project. I think just the team as a whole is probably my favorite part of everything, because we've come so far and we've made such a great game. I'm just really happy with the team as a whole.
I'm sure Isabella and Robin loved that answer. Good on you, Sam. What about what about you guys, Bella and Robin? Again, still so generous that no one wants to talk over each other. I think this is probably the best team I've seen, like, collaborating together. When I've been on campus, you guys are always laughing and you're always sharing those ideas and working on the game, and it shows the passion behind it. So it's nothing like, I know it was an assignment, but it's also a passion project. So you want to keep going and you want to keep perfecting and having fun as well. It's something so important. Like, I think it's important to be able to have fun with what you're working on. But yeah, sorry to cut you off, Robin. Go ahead.
That's okay. I think for me, one of my favorite experiences working with Resonant Blade was as an artist, we spent a lot of the year working on our own. So a lot of our projects, a lot of our assessments were self-governed. So when we got put into a team effort, there was a little bit of friction trying to go the right direction. But once we figured out how to communicate, that was like a big part of it, was actually figuring out how to communicate with other people in a way that they could experience it easily. Because like, I'm a very aggressive communicator, I'm a very like strong communicator, and some people cannot tolerate that. And learning how to effectively communicate with different types of people really illustrated how just keeping an open, honest communication line with your teammates actually takes the passion, takes the aggression, takes the drive, and instead of going at each other, you go together towards the goal. And I learned particularly how to honor my teammates' struggles, because like, I know I'm not the only one struggling, I'm not the only one having a bad day, I'm not the only one having a good day, and we all really kept each other up. We gave each other a lot of counsel. We were all there for each other, we were all supportive of each other, and I think that was my favorite part of the experience.
I love that honest answer. So it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows from the get-go, like, but you worked on it, the communication is key, and it's something that you guys all worked on. You know that everyone communicates differently. I know I definitely do as well, but seeking out how everyone does it and then actually affecting it and then putting it to action is so important. So yeah, well done, guys. It's good to hear that, you know, you guys are so honest, and it's like from the start there was things that you took steps towards. Very cool. Bella, what about you?
I think I just really like the team's like dedication to the project. Like, I think it was like our alpha build was like really bad, and like within a week between like the like teacher like presentation and like the industry presentation, like we really like did like a huge improvement, and that was like pretty amazing. And after that, like our momentum was just like nonstop. Yeah.
Love it. Dedication, momentum. Two very, very important things you need to do when you're working on a game, because all the bugs, all the obstacles, everything that happens, you need to keep going through it and then get this amazing game at the end. And it's so amazing. Everyone has to play it. Well, that's all the questions we had for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining us. For anyone that missed it, Sam, can you go over where to find the Resonant Blade?
Yeah, so you should be able to just find it by searching up the Resonant Blade and itch.io. Or to find it more specifically, you can look at Harley, our programmer's itch account. His account name is HJClark462. And if you look that up on itch, then you should be able to find that, as well as some of the other games that he's worked on.
Amazing. Thank you, Sam, Robin, Bella, and Matt for all joining us today on this recording of the Resonant Blade. Woo! See you guys.